All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call to order the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee meeting of November 12th. Can I get a roll call?
Mazer.
Yolanda here.
Kai here.
Ernesto Mora.
Lester Mascon.
Tom Brown, a visitor. Thank you.
Lester Mascon here. Are there any public comments?
No.
No? Okay. With that, I'll turn it over to Kai and Ernesto for presentation from High Performance Learning Environments.
Correct.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Mascon and Mr. May. So we're gonna switch a little bit here where we're gonna have the presentation. Mr. Tom from High Performance Learning Environment is gonna give us an overview. Mr. Brown's gonna give us an overview of what his organization does for school districts in general, and then some options that we would like to hear from him, whether we want to move modulars from the district office here to another facilities or to put in a new modulars at the elementary school, as an example. So with that said, Mr. Brown, you're on the floor.
Thank you very much. So we did prepare this presentation very quickly, and I'll let you know
Could
beyond.
you start with just kind of your history working with the school district? And okay.
I will, of course. I am a local community member. And we have done a few little supporting projects. I do want to emphasize, as a community member, I am dedicated to this community and this district, and I do want to help out in whatever ways. I know Ernesto and I have become pretty good friends, and oftentimes, you know, if there's a question, he feels comfortable calling and asking, and we generally figure out a solution. So that said, high performance learning environments is what's called a boutique firm. So we're a small firm, and let's look at the principles here. Contents, the approach on the presentation, just very short, give you a quick introduction. I'm going to show you some related examples of temporary versus or portable versus modular facilities and various pros and cons of those. And then Q&A. Now, I say then Q&A, but I will say I'm also an adjunct professor for the College of Engineering at CSUN. I encourage open forum. So something comes up, throw me a question. It's fine. I think that's more effective for all of us. So do feel free. Again, boutique firm, the leadership, Mr. Jaime Ortiz, the president of the firm, has an architect by training, but he's basically all his career in construction management, and particularly K-12 and public institutions, okay? And he's done a lot of research to look at what are the optimal environments for children to learn. Michael Terry is a licensed architect. Runs the Northern California office. We do collaborate, and Michael has an extended history of full design, stamped licensed DSA design. And myself, I'm technically a licensed mechanical engineer, but I have 30 years of facilities operations and service, not to mention my military service before that. I did retire from Cal State University Northridge in 2009 and went immediately out into the public service side, doing special services, consulting, design, etc., for my other colleges, community colleges, and K-12 school districts. And I've been doing that ever since. Been with the firm here, which I very much appreciate, for 7+ years now. I appreciate this firm because it is a boutique firm. And when you're looking for optimal efficiency. The big firms, unfortunately, are cookie cutter, cut and paste, and that's what you get. And there's no bargain. And what I love to do and have done all my life is problem solve. And if you ever want an example of, you guys love projects, I can share with you some of the $200+ million of full design build installs we did at CSUN. That's in-house. That's him and I doing it all ourselves, right? Equivalent. Or the $2 billion+ I've been responsible for in public works. So it's a great team. Let's move on to the next slide here, please. And the emphasis on that the firm has with particular research and understanding of pedagogical needs. Vision is to increase student performance. That's our primary vision. And I agree with that and embrace that. Our mission is to serve as professional stewards. A steward is a professional that serves the needs of others, that brings to the table. So I act now as an owner-operator representative. I was an owner-operator for a lot of years, but I especially would like to be that service steward for you all. And I think we can demonstrate the value of that too. And then the goal is to deliver those values to you and all of our clients. Okay, please move on. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. A little bit of a repeat. So again, student-centric, research-based, and data-driven, which I love. And the goal is to contribute to your strategic plan and needs at whatever extent. And oftentimes we know, and I know you guys know, being in the construction industry, sometimes it's just an immediate need, and you just got to react and act and effectively get it done. And that's key and important too. Go ahead, please. And a little reiteration of what the research shows in regards to the effective environment, and that's something we have specialized in. I should note, beyond just the classroom, that most of my design build work at the university was for specialized labs, research labs, special technology, grant applications and such. So when it couldn't get done by conventional means, they usually came to me. Go ahead, please. So we are looking at the priority in facilitating the performance, but also optimal safety. All right. And now I think we get into the examples. So let's go through these. And again, ask questions anytime you feel the need. So we're going to discuss modular versus portable classrooms, pros and cons, different options, risk factors, etc. Go ahead.
The modular versus portable, what we have at Meadowlark now, are those considered portables or modulars?
There is a nuanced line. The vendor may have sold those to you as modular. And until I would get down and look at the actual footing of the portables, I wouldn't exactly know the difference. But
You're talking jacks and straps on portables that are sitting underneath it versus
Yeah.
sitting on a slab on grade or foundation.
versus permanent foundation.
Maybe
That's
those are
the
all
one
permanent foundation.
critical differentiating.
Yeah.
Except retaining wall grounds.
However, true modulars have a lot more potential functionality and capability of fitting multiple needs, being sized in different modes, different extensions, etc. So So the ones that the vendors might sell you as a modular versus a portable or temporary is just because they put a design element in their PC drawings, their DSA pre-approved drawings, that would allow a permanent foundation, right? When you look at those compared to all the others, you can't tell the difference for the most part. They're wood frame, stick frame structures, single door on one side, very simple, very basic. So you do want to kind of know and recognize that subtle difference. They'll sell you anything, trust me. These are Gen 7 modulars, true modulars. Those are 5 classrooms that were installed, plus a restroom building at the Tumbleweed School. The average cost per classroom was $570,000.
So that's times 5 then, 570 times 5?
Yes.
Okay,
That was total cost.
yeah,
All the soft costs, overhead, design, etc. So
What's the square footage of that? Price per square foot on the classroom?
I'd have to scale that out.
What are
But
those
there's
costs?
substantial classrooms.
What size classrooms?
There
Estimate?
they're effectively similar size to the temporaries you have with 2 modular sections tied to make
So
the
20 by 20.
classroom. 20 by 40
yeah,
typically.
20 by 40.
600 square foot,
Yeah.
570,000, 600 square foot. Stick built one.
Now, do remember, that's all site work, that's everything.
That's the grading and everything.
Everything,
Yeah, all the-
foundation, everything. And those are actuals in that case, and the actuals do vary. I'm not gonna sit here and say I can tell you exactly what
Right.
number it's gonna be. The ones on the bottom are actually more expensive, but they are larger and there was much more site work. So you see these are Gen 7 modular science labs. And the inside pictures of that science lab. So there are 2 large science labs there, side by side. And per lab, those were 1,440,000 per lab. Okay. So slightly more. It doesn't look like slightly, but it is substantially more on the numbers. But it does include, as the top one did, as well, site work. Question?
570,000, that is just for the modular itself. That includes the building, but it doesn't include the infrastructure piece.
Everything is included. in
So that's
it.
permitting,
Permitting, design,
DSA architectural.
all soft costs, inspections.
Soils
etc.
report,
Testing.
geology and everything.
so it's turnkey.
That's all soft costs.
Yeah.
It wasn't turnkey for me because I had to hire all the stuff.
But it's turnkey for us.
It's that's
Okay.
all, that's everything. And that's per classroom. So I tried to break it down
Right.
per classroom. I know you're looking at a
$1,000
minimum.
Now, if we only needed 2 classrooms, does that price change because it's a smaller footprint?
There's economy and
Yes.
in
In
quality,
numbers, yes.
numbers,
Would you need a
yes.
bathroom or a bathroom there?
Not really.
You,
Adding a bathroom would probably, we would have to add a septic and sewer piping and all that.
here's the
It would Be a
risk,
lot cheaper.
and we'll jump to that. Line doing it.
I've got a little sticker shock over
It's
$1,000.
going to be DSA.
I've just got sticker shock over
There's
$1,000.
no avoiding DSA.
Right.
And then predicting the access needs, the requirements.
Impact.
They usually target 30% of the gross capital cost of what you're doing. But if they see and deem it necessary to extend access routing from their current approved plan set beyond, that's your risk factor in regards to managing cost. DSA. If you can avoid it, and I'm not going to put down DSA, but they do look seriously at some rote elements, access as being one. And, you know, that's your big risk. I don't know what building you were planning on moving or where this was considered as being located. The analysis should first look at it to try and ensure we don't put those potential cost factors in front of a DSA where they're going to say, you got to do this.
Mhm.
So you kind of plan ahead when you normally do that. So
You're talking about path of travel?
path of travel and they'll look at, you know, drinking fountains,
Restroom distance from classroom.
restroom distance. They'll require ADA upgrades in your, you know, in your school, no matter what, no matter where.
Mhm.
They'll find something.
So let's jump to the next example. I'm not a big fan of portable or temporary. From my experience, and my experience goes back a long ways here. This example, we actually landed for 335 portable classrooms and 8 spring structures after the earthquake. We did that in 7 weeks, which was crazy.
Well, the spring structures are nice, but then the last couple of years, you know, we're not long term.
Now, we mentioned we were not under DSA. CSU has an exemption for DSA except access ADA now. Nowadays. So yeah, but that was indeed a temporary need. Those were all temporary needs,
Right.
and they were removed as quickly as I could get them removed, quite frankly. Once we refurbished and or rebuilt the campus, we would demo those things out as quick as possible. So they do definitely serve a purpose, especially if it's a temporary use. I did want to emphasize that with this slide. Go ahead, please. These are future learning environments, and these were portable interior retrofits. We've done many schools in Palmdale and other locations to upgrade those portables, and we have fixed them where they are DSA exempt scopes, much like the next example we'll give, which was the Meadow Lark makerspace. But the advantage is primarily for the pedagogical programs and the learning opportunities. So improved acoustics, lighting, daylighting. In many cases, we put the lighting domes. Yes, sir.
So that average 100K cost, is that per classroom as well?
That's pretty fast. That's all cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move on, please. Nick. Connection, but we can look at it here. How's that?
I don't want to hurry, because we have.
Yeah.
Hard side, so.
No worries. There's another one there that says she'll say Brush Hall, and it's just an example of how modular can be configured in virtually anyway.
Yeah.
That was 26 modular section back in 1987. And that's an actual current picture that you see there. And 3 floors, it was 2 floors of modulars and permanent foundation, which had a full basement level for storage. 12 classrooms, full department office, restrooms on both floors, and an elevator and stairwell. So just an example of how modulars can be configured in just about any for any need. So let's move on now to Meadowlark. And this was a pretty effective $200,000 interior and minimal exterior upgrade for that spot, and it was DSA exempt. So there are ways of doing certain improvements and still fitting within the exemption, allowable exemptions for DSA. You really want to know the nuanced interpretation of those exemptions. One thing I will share with you directly, we kind of got lucky on this job. Had it been a DSA process, what we did find is that the west half of that portable, and this may be modular, it may be portable, I don't know. You see it's at grade level.
Right.
And I did not go down and check if it had a permanent foundation or if it was still just excavated, compacted, and a stick frame foundation. I don't know. Do you know
No, I had never been down in underneath.
what we
It's a stick frame foundation with like Q111 siding.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's done.
it's in all other equivalencies, it's a portable. Right?
It's sitting on a permanent foundation. I believe it does have jacks for the subfloor. I don't think it's sitting directly. There's a soft
No, it's not
subfloor.
saying directly, there, it is.
Yeah, there's.
Right,
that's all
it's just-
of
you know, it has to be, yeah, because there's framing under there, but I suspected that because we found the west half had sunk. And it actually had sunk greater than a 2% fall from the center of the classroom.
Mhm.
It was slightly greater than 2%, which is not legal.
Right.
For cross slope. We were able to float it. There's still some slope there. We floated the floor, we got it above less than the 2% cross slope, and it avoided all of the other major costs and issues had you, if it were a DSA would have said, lift the whole thing, redo the entire footing, foundation. Look, I mean, you would have been stuck. What we did is we took a reasonable approach. We floated it to the extent we could. We still didn't get it absolutely flat. You can, if you go over there, you take a little marble, you can actually see that one half says a little slight slope, but it is now ADA legal and accessible. And that was an important issue I did want to share with this group. So now we look at pros and cons, and I'll run through these very quickly. And then I will share what I thought your main goals and priorities would be. So modular is considered permanent, portable considered temporary. Industry life 50-year for modular construction. Portable 20-year industry life. Permanent foundations versus framed temp foundation. That's a primary difference, quite frankly. Most modulars have far better fire resistant construction. Most modulars have improved access and egress. And I do want to call to your attention, and you've seen them, most of your temporaries / portables / whatever they are, single door egress. And that's for me, that's a fairly important consideration, especially with the fire resistant type rating. They are legal. I just want to note they are legal. So steel frame structures typically for modular, and then wood frame for temporaries. Modular can be customized far substantially, even on a single unit. Portables, one size fits all. Capital cost, it's about double what you would see for temporary / portable for modular. for portable, I'm sorry. And availability is reasonable, I will say. But the temporary / portable, they're off the shelf. The delays are permitting, right? So let's jump to the last page. So I did kind of recap what I thought you might be considering, and one is the relocation of an existing portable classroom from one school to another, pros and cons, or secondary considerations. Now, it is the minimal cost, and that is an absolute minimal cost. That's not improving the interiors. That's not with any unforeseen conditions. We lift that thing and we find dry rot in the full flooring, framing, elsewhere. You know, you're gonna pay for it. So higher potential for unforeseen repair costs to existing structure, higher risk of DSA delays and unforeseen cost impacts. They too are going to look at that reload. Let's say it's an older reload and there was a DSAA number problem and it never got filed. They're going to have you get rid of that. They're going to say, get rid of that one, put a new one in that has proper DSA. And it's happened already. In fact, we're just removing 2 over at Homedale. Just surprise, surprise. Didn't get closed out properly years ago.
You're talking about A-record,
A numbers, yeah.
and that's closed out in order to issue a new record.
So there's a lot of risk with doing that, loss of programmable, and you lose programmable space at the old school site.
Tom, why are we not looking at stick build?
I kind of understood that it was modular or portable.
$1,000 a square foot to put a modular in is extreme.
But you know where a lot of that costs go, and I know, guys, your perspective is with commercial buildings, and you're right. You're absolutely right.
Even residential.
Commercial, residential, yes, that you are now, you cannot avoid with a new facility the DSA requirements.
30% increase for DSA.
Oh, yeah.
It's still
At least.
$1,000 a square
Well, that's
foot.
their adders, but now you talk about all, you know, you have to make sure all your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, right? So it's a lot of other soft costs, third party, designer, your architect, your construction manager, whoever, your IOR cost, because you have to have that. So it does add up pretty quickly. And again, stick frame, you're probably not going to be as, you think it's as cost effective as even the modular approach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done it. I've done it all. I'm open to anything.
I think with $300 a square foot would be extreme with architecturals and everything.
Then it's,
Oh, those first modulars, by the way, they also had restrooms inside of those, each restroom, even though they required a restroom trailer. It's crazy. So let's just quickly go through these final ones. The other option is leave the existing portable in place, purchase, install a new portable classroom. So again, that minimal cost is projected at $300,000. You don't lose programmable space at the other school. Likely the fastest delivery method, if time schedule is urgent. And then the last option I listed here is leave the portable in place, purchase, install a new modular classroom. Again, the cost almost doubles for the modular. No loss of programming space at the old school. And the big consideration is permanent versus temporary classroom space and from me, that's an impact on life cycle and safety.
you're saying minimal cost, so that's budget number that could shoot up.
It
based
could,
on-
there's site conditions we may not know, there's, again, it's still DSA, but. In the case of the modular with the foundations, and usually those are set on the rat slab,
Mhm.
right? So it's a little more over X. If you get unusual soil conditions, I wouldn't expect it out here. I know I live up on the hill here and I'm sitting on a rock.
You're gonna have more riverbed type of condition down
You
there.
just gotta
Yeah,
leave it.
a little
so you
more.
don't have to worry about overheads.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too concerned about it, yeah. So. Questions, answers? Ernesto, you ready for answers?
I think we've asked most of the questions while we're in the process.
Yeah, I have no further questions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good, a little sticker shock, to be honest.
I don't want to undersell it. Can you get it? I just couldn't.
I mean, you could say minimal cost is 500,000, then come in at 570 or
Yeah.
600, so.
I
As long as
don't
you-
want to.
Well, there's no reason to take on this project and build one classroom,
Right.
and we can't afford to build 10, 5, so. It's a non-starter at that price.
Yeah.
So we gotta find a different way to do it.
Now,
At least that's my opinion, I don't
Yeah.
know.
no,
there
I'm sure
was
Kai would agree with the budget on it.
one
Yeah.
chat.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, there was one chat we had several weeks, maybe months ago about looking at the existing space to see if there was programmable space that could be converted to a classroom. And then reassigning some of the non-academic space to portable or something. You remember that? You had mentioned
Yeah.
that.
It wasn't at that site, though, that site completely,
Right.
no, that one's
No, it's
completely.
not at that
No,
location,
it's
that's
not
not
that
an
one.
option.
No, not at Metal Arc, that one's completely,
Full.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
full.
So we would have to look at, I mean, we and that's what we have to go take a look, if we were gonna move portable
Mhm.
from here, and move it over there, and to see the condition, an estimate, to see if it's even movable to over there, and obviously putting it back in, getting a truck to move the portables, and then putting it back together. Obviously, architectural drawings, send it to DSA, and IR's gotta come out here to inspect, making sure everything gets put together, making sure the HVACs are working and et cetera. So you're looking at $240 per modular, per portable,
For
or
the remote.
that's the
of the
minimum
portable.
cost?
Right, that's just.
That's
That-
what it's-
I thought I didn't include paint in the damn thing.
No,
What's the back?
So,
Right.
so the thing
But
is,
we would bid options,
right,
right?
so you're saying you don't know, there could be an A number that's disqualifies that, but you would find that out before you even try to move the thing, right?
You
I mean,
should.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't move it until we knew
You
for a
don't
fact.
want to do it
No,
because.
I don't wanna do it, but I'm just saying it needs to be
Well,
found out by,
I'm saying
cause the
if
cost
there
of,
was a problem with the A number
right,
and DSA, because you gotta ask.
right. So these modulars we're talking about aren't being used. They've been sitting for years
Years.
unused, so it's not like it's,
And were they originally placed as classrooms?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, they haven't been used for probably over 20 years.
They weren't prior to 81, were they? Constructed.
They're from the 80s. I'm pretty sure they're they're not from the 90s.
81 was the.
Because they were already,
year.
I was here in 1992, and they were there already.
Yeah.
So they're from the 80s.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good option.
They're old bungalows.
yeah,
81, so we'd probably
And
be safe to do testing. So if you had any regulated materials.
You gotta test for lead-based paint, especially.
but like you said, that's probably not the option.
well, the
We're
good
gonna-
thing
if we're
that
gonna
they don't
spend that
have
much,
any,
I'd
the
rather
inside doesn't
spend
have any. paint.
100,000
They're,
more to get something that's,
the outside, but we already painted the outside.
In
But there is
my,
other inspections we have to do.
There is a third option, and Dr. Stocking had a really good idea, and we're gonna go through this PowerPoint here. and, see what the committee wants to decide what to do. If that is a feasible solution and more economical, practical solution, right? So, and then looking at the cost overall for all this. I don't know if I made enough copies so you can. And then there.
So,
So,
We need more copies?
one more, I can go print
I
something.
got it.
That's all right, I can look over your shoulder. Or you could pick me up. That's okay.
So the last time we spoke, Mr. Mescon and Mr. Mays give us directives of telling us which ones are needs and which ones are wants. So we sorted out and we went by year one, year two, year three, year four. And then also based on what are the most important. So based on the information that we got from the committee and from Mr. Mescon, Mr. Mays, we know that we need to expand metal art. That's very important. So again, guesstimate of $550,000 to move two modulars, two portables from here to
Right.
to the school, to metal art. Then they also look at landscaping, painting the portables, the existing portables, right? That's the first year. If we were to move the modulars, portables, excuse me, it's gonna cost about 680,000 plus, including landscaping, 680,000. Those are needs. Year two, obviously, we have to look at the roof replacements, because that is very important, because there are leak issues right now and rain is coming in, raining seasons is here upon us. And it's just to maintain the wear and tear of our facilities, basically. And that year two is gonna cost $445,000. And then year three, based on our discussions, asphalt replacement at Metal Art, as well as high desert concrete, reseal the classroom floorings and, new roofs of the portables at, high desert. Again, it's $250,000. In year four, these are, wants, it's not important. I mean, it's important, but it's not detrimental to the district. Playground structure, shade structure. I understand that there's really no shade structure at Best Best High School since inception. Students are trying to find shades during the summertime, just to stay cool. So that's a little, something that we would like to address. And then classroom furniture, again, though, we're looking at $623,000, just an estimate. But let's go to the next slide here. If there's anyone has any questions so far. Okay.
Let's finish this and we'll go back.
Okay. Yeah, we can change things
Yeah.
around again. And so
I mean, the focus out of this presentation here is just to figure out the have to do stuff,
correct,
like this, the stuff that has to happen.
correct.
So that we don't impact our ability to educate our kids.
Yes.
So we're gonna extract from this the things we have to do.
Mhm. Yes, correct. So yes, we'll go back, after we go through this PowerPoint slide. So we have, 3 kindergarten classrooms at Metal Art, right? And, an idea is to transition those 3 classrooms, move the 3 kindergarten classrooms to here. Instead of spending the money, instead of relocating, instead of purchasing new modulars, as an example, and I think Dr. Sagan had a really good idea, was move 3 sections, that will free up 3 classrooms at Metal Art.
The TK is already here, right now?
The TK is
Yeah,
here,
TK
that's
and
correct.
So it's under metal.
Yes, I just did
Okay.
that just for
Okay.
our enrollment purposes.
So-
All right, so if we move it here, that will free up 3 classrooms over there. That would gives us the flexibility of growing at Metal Art, as an example. And obviously,
Reopening classrooms.
Yeah,
yeah, that'll free up. And then in the future, if we continue to grow, then we obviously had to add new modular.
Buy this some time.
Correct, oh, buy
So
some
if we-
time.
Do we have to, at that point, then put that kitchen back in order and get all that stuff?
And what would be the cost to be able to use this facility for that?
The kitchen here,
Yeah. 'Cause
you know what,
You'd have to,
correct. What we're gonna do is that they're gonna do scratch cooking or prepackaged goods at High Desert.
Right.
And move the
Transport
meals.
goods.
kind of
transport
like
goods.
they do that right now.
Yeah, they'll be
Yes,
doing
they
the
do.
same thing they're doing right now, cook it somewhere else and then just bring it here and they'll,
'Cause we have
To
the
the kitchen.
classrooms ready.
yeah, we have classrooms, we just have to clean them up and
Right.
basically beautify them.
Finish out a couple.
Just
of
beautify
things.
the classrooms, but we have a classrooms, I just have to get them all up and
Bathrooms
running.
are all sufficient.
All the rest
Right
are
height.
completely done already, no. Well, just a couple toilets, I have to bring them down to make them a little bit smaller. But right now, We
Budget
do.
cost to do this, do you have that number?
not at this moment, I would have to put something together, yeah.
What's your best guess? 50? Two?
Probably around there,
About to.
yeah,
What's
cause
your-
cause
what's
we haven't
your-
done anything to
This
those,
is a
It'll
refurbishment
be a none.
or
just-
existing restrooms that we have right
No,
now.
it's just-
Making them, changing the toilets from standard size to little mini toilets.
But if we bring in, if we have our own staff to do that, that would lower the cost down.
Oh, yeah, no, we could definitely,
But, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
So,
love that idea.
no, and we do a lot of in-house. We only bring out outside contractors if it's something out of our work scope. that
But you
we don't
still
have
have
manpower
to-
for it.
Those classrooms are DSA certified, or they have to be recertified, or what's?
No, those are already, the bungalows in the back, they're DSA certified already.
Okay,
We did some, repairs on the ramps they requested
okay,
and they signed off on those.
okay,
But that's just a pathway.
right.
We had to change the pathway for ADA,
mhm.
yeah.
So, and again, these are our existing enrollment right now at High Desert, Meadowlark. We have 353 students at Meadowlark and High Desert, 311. Vasquez, 398. So we're at 1,060 students approximately throughout the entire district. So the pros and cons of relocating our portable, obviously, the pros is that it's a one-time cost and will give Meadowlark 2 additional classrooms. The cons is that it's gonna cost at least $550,000, if not probably more. And obviously that doesn't include furnitures.
No, if we can get 3 classrooms out of, maybe we spend 250 at best to get 3 classrooms out of this place with Kendra over.
Mhm.
I don't see.
Because the only thing we have to do is beautify them and get the furniture from them. That's it.
So if we relocate the kindergarten students, the next page, then again, we'll free up 3 classrooms. What we can do, I know that there's no shade structures out here. We can use ELOP funds and general funds to split the cost to put shade structure.
We have the solar panels.
The solar panel there, but if the kids are playing in the
He wants to go
blacktop,
over the area where the playground is, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And it'll be ideal if we can put shade structure underneath, above the playground structure as well.
Right.
That's correct. Thank you.
So, back to it,
Mhm.
rough guesses. Total project price to add the 3 classrooms here, including the shade structure, everything you need to do.
Well, I know that the shade structure will probably cost about $120,000 with
So maybe
DSA
this looks
approval and
like
everything.
It's gonna be-
not to exceed a 500 to do the whole thing.
Around there. That should be plenty for,
What's your codes, I know you have to go through DSA on certain things, but it's LA County, right? Are you under
LA County.
Palmdale City at all?
No, it's all,
No, it's all county.
South County.
I just mentioned that Palmdale adopted a 20-pound snow load requirement.
Mhm.
DSA mandates the regional, they will support whatever the local regulatory agencies affect.
We have our own Acton community standards here that kind of govern most of our building codes here.
Yeah, we got impacted big time with that. And while you can, there's only one shade structure we found that actually. had a 20
We're only
so-
California, LA County, and then Acton Community Standards. So if it's not in California's code book or it's not in LA County's code book,
It's
it
your
doesn't
standards.
apply to us other than what's in the Acton Community Standards guide, which wouldn't affect the school.
Yeah, yeah.
So just for exiting this meeting here,
Mhm.
obviously, looking at the year one stuff, we can get rid of the portable modular stuff.
Mhm.
Look at, does that mean that, and obviously we have the painting of the buildings and stuff, is that what's included here, the 130?
That was just a rough estimate to paint the bungalows over at Meadowlark.
Well, it has to happen, those are gonna
Yeah,
deteriorate if we
yes.
don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because they're in really bad condition right now.
I agree, I think this one has to
Yeah,
happen.
that's so.
Year two. Items, any of these need to be year one.
I would definitely throw the, building 1 and building 2 from High Desert, the roofs, because those are really,
I mean, if we,
we've been patching them up.
if they're leaking, they need to be.
Yeah, right now, we just do whatever we can in-house, but it's time for them. It's the original roofs from 1992, so
Because if
they're,
you don't, then you're gonna get dry rot
Yep.
issues and it's gonna be a lot
that's
more.
really
Let's
important.
move those two items to year one. For the two, building 1, building 2 roof. These are my opinions, we'll need to all discuss this at some point, but here's what I suggest we do. Year 3. Anything in year 3 that needs to get done in year 1 or year 2? Or is this all stuff you're comfortable with waiting 2 years, 3 years to do?
I would definitely jump the bungalows, the roofs from the bungalows to year number 2.
That need to be year 1?
Yeah, I mean, number 1. No,
Those roofs are leaking too, or no?
basically, we've been patching them up,
Okay.
all the bungalows.
Anything that's a roof issue.
It should
that
be
has-
done.
Should be done.
Right.
That's a year 1, year 4, let's take a look there. This is all the ones.
For the classroom furniture for Meadowlark, is that for what grade level?
For Meadowlark, it would be, if we're gonna move, kindergarten, it would be 1, 2, just 3 grades.
So
First,
I'm
second, and
saying,
third.
is this classroom furniture for kindergarten or is it, because if it is, then that's gonna be part of
Yeah,
this other project.
Basically, the kindergarten furniture would be moved over here.
Okay.
And then we would have to purchase new furniture for older students for Meadowlark.
can we prioritize this list here, 1, 2, 3, and 4? What's number 1, what's number 2, what's number 3, what's number 4?
Mhm.
For this, wants list,
For number 4, okay.
I mean, what's,
Yeah, basically, the classroom furniture for Meadowlark does need to be, if we're gonna move the
Number
students,
one?
it needs to be number 1.
Right.
That's gonna happen this
so,
coming
that
summer.
put High Desert classroom furniture is number
Number
2?
That would do
That's
number
that,
2.
that stuff's been up forever.
So shade structure number 3 and playground, or playground 4?
The shade structure issue, that doesn't come into any compliance issues, because OSHA now is requiring shade structures for everything now, so that's gonna be a general thing that's gonna come into play, so we might wanna look at that.
Yeah, we'll look
Because-
into it.
Temperatures, and there's a lot of different
'Cause the
aspects.
last time we had a shade structure was here was probably 9 years ago, 8, when we built the high school.
We wouldn't be subject to new
No.
codes.
But we wouldn't be, but there could be something that comes up that says.
I'll look
Yeah.
into it.
So, if I was to formalize what I believe we're making as a recommendation, we'll take our not to exceed budget, which would be more than adequate,
Mhm.
of 500K for the relocation of the kindergarten over to Meadowlark,
That's fundamental here.
or from Meadowlark to here. Landscaping of portable buildings is a year 1 project. Plus, we're looking at the roofs out of the year 3. As well as the High Desert stuff here. So that puts us roughly
You know,
at $1 million in expenditures for year 1 to be able to accomplish all those things. Then we can take the year 2, year 3 stuff.
yes, sir.
I wanna ask the committee here, And this is a tough question. It's,
Where's it gonna come from?
where, exactly, where is it gonna come from?
That's what I'm for.
That's your job,
What,
guy.
right,
How much of that would have, we did that, the things that we're talking about there.
Mhm.
How much would have to come from the general fund? How much would come from grant money that are available?
grant,
Unrestricted, how much restricted funds can you use for that?
the only thing I can use, if we were to move the kindergarten classroom here, then I could split the cost for a shade structure underneath above the playground. If, that's because after school services, I cannot use ELP funds for the other school sites, because there's no after school services. So
So,
everything else, so basically, it's all pretty much general fund.
so, but
unrestricted.
you're saying you had 500, so year one you have 680,000, is that what you have? You've already got
Right.
that, you can allocate that money?
No, that's.
No,
So that's
this
this year.
is- This is just
So-
how much.
So this is just how much it is, it's not,
Approximately,
okay.
yeah. If you add all this up, we're looking at,
No, I understand that, I'm looking at year one,
yeah.
because that was.
So, I mean, I just can't see how we can use general fund to do, I can,
I don't think we're gonna try to leave this meeting with a recommendation for the board meeting this week.
Right.
It doesn't seem possible to me based on what we just looked at, but I think what we just discussed, you guys need to take it away for 4 weeks. And figure out what to do with it, and we meet again in December, hopefully in preparation for the December
Mhm.
board meeting.
but I think what we can take away from this meeting is that if we can all be in agreement, is to move the 3 sections of kindergarten
Yeah.
to
I-
here.
I would say though, as a priority standpoint, we have to address these roofs before we go spending money on a
Mhm.
project like that. So as much as I think that's a high priority item, we'll have greater impact to our ability to educate
Yeah,
if we don't address the roofing issues that we have that's going on right now. So I would, but what we just discussed though, if we could recast this with that light,
mhm,
and then let's package up the year 1, 2, year 3 recommendations
mhm.
like that. Try to spend some time. Be great if we could spend some time potentially trying to come up with an actual construction price instead of kind of a swag number we just talked about, but trying to come up with some real numbers that we really think that we could do it within.
Cool. Okay,
And look, I'm not saying we have to go get bids and everything.
for this site,
Yeah, for this site.
And
okay.
if you're gonna use, guess how many man hours you think it's gonna take and how much?
Well, I only have 3 guys.
Right, so I don't think it's gonna
So-
be feasible to do it that way.
No,
Yeah,
that's a bigger project than what we inspect,
Yeah.
even if they work Saturdays and Sundays, they still need a day off.
No,
Yeah.
No, I'll look into it. I could definitely get proposals. It doesn't cost a lot. I mean, it's free. I
Yeah.
can get estimates put together for painting and beautifying the classrooms.
What's our threshold for putting out RFP for this?
Um,
The 100,000?
The
If it's, again,
ratified limit is going up to 70K
Well,
just
over 7.
very soon.
I wanna hear from our CFO.
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, no, go ahead, go ahead. What I'm saying is that anything under 60,000, 65 or 70,000, I know the threshold has changed. Then you don't have to go for formal bidding. You can just go get 3 quotes from three different
State.
vendor. But if it's over 60,000, 65,000, or you're 70,000, then it's informal bidding. Then you can get 3 quotes from your list of subcontractors list, your current list of contractors. Anything over $200,000 or a little bit over $200,000 is going to require formal bidding. So you got to post it on a trade journal, go out for competitive bidding and do a job walk and do a design bid build, right?
It'd be interesting, we could package this up together
If we-
potentially. and do
Yeah, if
it.
we put it in a package, it is gonna exceed that amount, but if you have painters, furniture, it'll definitely, it's different, it'll cut it back, so we don't have to go into outbidding.
And you
But we
can't
could put it in a
multi-
package if you want it in a package.
multi-prime contracts.
Or if you have a CMAS peak back contract, is what
Well,
you're saying?
you don't have to see mass. Multi-prime as you break the scope up into individual trades.
Right.
Takes a little more oversight and managing and coordinating.
Mhm.
But you can often keep the higher value bids below the ratified limit.
Right.
And it's just
That's
faster.
what I was just saying.
I'm actually a fan of letting people compete in the business and, you know, what price we can get.
We could put something together for those 3 classrooms, see how much it would be, including
I know,
furniture and
yeah.
everything. That's what you wanna see.
I mean, look, I don't know what the,
Cause that way that'll be an actual number versus what we're putting together
Yeah.
here.
it'd be nice if we, do we have a consultant that we use for scope writing and RFP writing?
We would have
This
to
guy made it.
work with,
That's what we do.
He did
Yeah.
Makerspace and he also
Okay.
did the field over at High Desert.
Okay,
Yeah, so he does that.
okay,
He could put everything together and let us know, hey, this is how much it would cost to do the 3 classrooms and upgrade those restrooms that you have.
yeah, that might be something that we, well, let's, take the next 4 weeks to kind of formalize what we just talked about
okay,
and try to get that into we'll look at it again.
Okay.
okay,
And then, maybe we could see,
Okay.
I think, if we were to entertain a price, it would really just be for the, scope writing and the RFP process. Would be where we would probably
Well,
be
first-
curious in seeing a
first
price
just ask
from
for
you
help.
on,
How's
yeah,
that?
Okay.
I'm fine. I help my friend here,
So put something
We
together.
appreciate you.
thank you.
my community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to
Appreciate
meet you
it.
guys.
Yeah.
Are
Well,
you done with me?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Up and around there.
Okay. So the next step is that, if I could get clarification here then. So that way we can let the community know, that our parents know that we want to
Have a nice one.
transition the kindergarten.
Well, I think we're not there yet,
Not there
right?
yet,
So
okay.
we're not there at all yet. So this has to go before the board.
Mhm.
Board has to approve such a change
Mhm.
along with the cost estimates as well.
Right.
For us to move to the next step.
Okay,
I think if we're, we're not even ready to make a recommendation to the board yet. So
okay,
I think we'll take the next 4 weeks to formalize that recommendation. We'll meet again.
sure.
Right, so first
And then-
thing they're gonna ask is numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Where the money's
Sure, and
coming
it's
from.
better to get actual numbers.
And I'd like to see the whole thing, see the thing as a whole. I don't think you're doing a roof project right now anyway. You're gonna have to wait till
Yeah,
rainy season ends.
Yeah.
anyway.
we could always, we could do with the same thing we're doing right now.
Bunch of hundreds,
You wouldn't start it right now.
No.
No.
Yeah, you can't start.
cause
it
you're
now.
tearing loose and that's not,
Yeah.
that's when kids are, that's a summer project, when everybody's out of school.
Yes.
You have potential for
Mhm.
flying things.
Oh, yeah, they'll hear too noisy.
Yeah, no,
People
it's
walking
fine.
up there hammering and
Yeah,
would be good.
but great work, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I feel like it's progress, at least towards coming up with a good, solid plan to move forward. Brilliant idea. Take a look at moving kindergarten over. TK's already here.
Mhm.
You know, the TK kindergarten here. I think it's a
Mhm.
brilliant idea. Let's try to put some meat on the bones of that idea and try to see if we can come up with a good
And also,
solid estimate.
what my plan is, the old office that we had down below next to transportation.
Yep.
I wanna get those offices up and running, so we could utilize our classrooms for
Right,
students versus staff. I could fit 1, 2, 3,
Nice,
4,
flexible.
5, like 6 staff members inside that building.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
That's
work on that
fantastic.
as well, I just wanna let you guys know.
That's a great, that's fantastic.
Yeah, cause I just got the approval to repair the roof. And then the next thing is gonna be beautifying the inside of the offices.
We're pretty close.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah,
you got 1 minute to your hard stop.
I know. Well, I don't have a hard stop, but we have,
Oh, it's the,
yeah, we've said the meeting would go from 4 to 5. We can run over if we need to, but, so future agenda item will look like, just coming up with that plan for that,
So are you talking about
or at least coming up with that.
is a rough estimate, a
Rough-
solid estimate
solid estimates
for
for,
here, if we were to move the 3
Yep.
classroom here
Move the 3 classrooms, and I think we just want to formalize what we just discussed though, like,
as well.
okay, so the roofing stuff is year 1.
Mhm.
Let's get those items formalized.
Okay,
So
Okay.
I'd like to, the goal would be to leave the next meeting
Mhm,
with that recommendation, so we can say, hey,
mhm,
here's what, so, here's what we're recommending, here's where the money can come from.
Mhm.
If it has to come from general fund, then it's, so be it, that's where it has to come from, to be able to accomplish it. We'll have to figure out if we're making the recommendation, to spend that money or not. Board gets to say no, if we don't like it, but, obviously, we're in a bit of a crunch, so those roofing items, we just can't delay them any longer, like, those
No.
are
mhm.
absolutely must,
Alright,
But we got
must
any
complete
bids
projects.
from that?
I do have bids from them. They need to be revised though. They're probably a couple years old
But
now.
100% so for the roofing stuff, like, let's put it all together as one bid, and let's let contractors compete on that business.
Are
That
they,
way we're,
those roofs? They're asphalt or TPO, they're,
You got gravel. So those are even worse because
Yeah,
the
you
more
gotta
they
scrape
step
it.
on them, they puncture the actual.
you gotta
that's
scrape
where
all
it's
that
going.
out.
Mm.
and
You
do
gotta
a-
scrape everything off and then
do a
we
TPO
seal.
or
Mhm.
hot,
Hot.
hot mop,
Yep.
so. The TPO
But
is gonna be.
even if
all
you
the main buildings
informally,
are like that.
even if you informally bid it, like, really make it a competitive process,
Okay,
just to ensure that we're getting the best price that's possible for us.
yeah, will do.
I think that would be the preferred way to try to approach that, but for next meeting, formalize if we can formalize the items that we discussed as kind of like that, we have to do.
mhm.
Obviously, we're bursting over at Metal Arc, so, does create some priority there. If you can try to shave some cost off of that move, that would be better.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
look into it and see what the best, once we get the actual estimate from Tom Brown, we'll see what we gotta do to cut it down.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then, Kai's gonna find us some free money,
Yeah,
and,
Um, I think
develop.
we can look at using developer fees, the point, to pay for some of these projects, but it's not gonna be all of it, not even come close. I think I mentioned to you, our developer fees, we have about, I think about, if you give me a minute, I can just go and find out for you how much we have in
we have a
different.
rough number.
I think it's like 100 and something thousand.
Okay.
So that'll be enough to.
You're doing great, you just found like 18% of the cost we need.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we can look at ways to generate revenues, but again, I can illustrate the options we can look at. There may be options that, the board, the committee may not like, but I'll leave it out, I'll bring it out and,
Well, let's discuss all of the options in our next meeting,
okay,
and then we can hopefully leave this group with a recommendation, or a few different options for the board to consider. Like,
Correct.
here's option 1, 2, and 3,
mhm,
how we address this. I think it's worth showing the cost of what 3 new portables would cost at like 1.8 million.
yeah,
Like, that's worth seeing that,
yeah,
versus the cost of moving 3 portables, just, and I
mhm,
think, listening to what he had to say, we should really take into account the fact that it's probably gonna be about 20% more than that, just for rehabilitation of those buildings, and then they're 40-year-old buildings that we're
Mhm.
moving, right? So if that's option 1 is the cheapest, option 1, the cheapest option really
Mhm.
is moving kindergarten over here by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Cause 3 portables moved, we're talking 800 to 900,000. Building 3 buildings, you're talking about 1.8 million versus relocating kindergarten here, which would be not to exceed 500,000, and that's a high estimate. Hopefully Ernesto comes back and says he can do it for 3 with the shade structure. And then we can, and I think that really puts it into perspective of what we're actually considering as an option,
mhm. Yeah, we can do that.
right? I mean, and then obviously the things that have to do maintenance items
Mhm.
are there. And honestly, that doesn't really leave us a lot of room to consider the wants. But
Mhm.
I think there's some, I think if we could try to fit one of these in. We could try to fit one of the wants in. And we obviously prioritize classroom furniture over at Meadowlark. And one of them. Yeah, classroom furniture at Meadowlark and High Desert are probably, the ones that we can try to fit into that as well. At the total project price and recommendations for. For all that, I think that,
Mhm.
looks like a good plan to work on.
Okay. Yeah, let us work on this and, we'll come up with some ideas in terms of generating revenues. And, also how we generate revenues in order to pay for all these.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, we have potential, we're growing, so
Mhm.
that's a positive thing for us.
Mhm. Options.
You don't have to solve it right now.
Right.
I know your brain's spinning on how.
He's like-
Yeah, you can see it. But don't try to solve it right now. It's not, it won't be productive, I don't think. Like, go away and sit with it.
Yeah.
And put some thought to it, discuss it and try to figure out, how we get it done for free.
Right. Right.
Okay, again, future agenda items, so that's really gonna be our priority at the next meeting.
Correct.
Once we have that, we're past that, I think honestly, I think we're getting to a point where we'd like to discuss, what the community actually wants to see as improvements to the schools.
Very
Yeah.
good point.
I mean, these are things we have to do.
Yeah.
But we should probably try to put, maybe. We can do some surveys and try to figure out what the community wants, maybe, maybe we can come up with a top 10 list of our own for things that. We know that are sitting out there, and then we can try to get some surveys out to the community to go, hey, this is what we want. This is what we need,
I like that.
and then they'll give us some direction there as well.
Yeah, good point.
So if we accomplish those two things at the next meeting, I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
Round real quick, do you have any comments or anything?
No comments?
Yeah,
Good,
thank you.
yes,
I'm good.
all right. Well, with that, we talked about a lot of stuff. Does anybody have any comments from the public that's sitting on Zoom?
No questions, that were sent by
What-
one person.
There's a question?
There was, and maybe you guys can answer it. So
Yeah.
Kate Castan, let's see. She was asking about the map that you guys were discussing for placement of classrooms for here, but I think that was discussed for Metal Art when,
Right.
Mr. Brown was speaking, like where those classrooms would be placed there. And then there was another one was, in regards to moving, kindergarten here. Her question was the Crown Valley site.
The question, what was the question?
Her questions, when they say moving kindergarten here, is here the Crown Valley site?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And again, these are discussions we're having to try to form a recommendation for the board. There's a lot of process that would need to happen before,
Yeah.
before it got to a formal, question or decision. And as far as map of where the facilities would go for the buildings, I think, I don't think we had a solid plan of where exactly at Meadowlark, but that was still to be discussed. So,
Yeah,
but it sounds like we've shelved that idea, so, we're focusing on fleshing out the idea of relocating kindergarten to
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
or to the
Actual
Crown
site.
Valley, to the school district office.
office.
Cool. Anything else anybody had questions on? No? All right, anything else from the group?
No, that's it.
No?
Thank you.
Good. With that, we will adjourn at 5:09 PM.
All right.
Thank you very much.